host of the Gridiron.
Fourth and goal to go with the 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
And this would be one of them, let me tell you what. Now, thankfully, the Giants are not looking for a center, right? We'd like to, have Mr. Michael Schmitz, keep kind of ascending, right? He needs to get a little stronger and everything. Smart guy, all good locker room, all that stuff, right? But we really like to see the guy keep ascending, right? Now, the one thing is, especially nowadays, right, is very, very important. How very important it is. Every guy that dresses for the Giants, a lot of guys, they need to get a lot of bang for their buck. You're just not going to have. I just play center. That's all I know. If that's the case, they got one of those on a team. That's it. They're not going to draft. They're not going to have John Michael Schmitz, who's a center, and go out and draft a center who's just a center. No, that's not. We got 5 guys on our team they're just centers. That's not happening. But thankfully, the Giants, not in the center market right now. We have guys on the team who can play guard/center. Right, so we have quite a few guys who can be center if something would happen to John Michael Schmitz. But thankfully, this is not one a year we're looking for a center. Holy cow! I mean, this is. I went over the guards a couple nights ago. The guards were slim picking too. Hopefully, the Giants. We have Runyon right on the left side. Hopefully, we move Neal in to the guard on the right side, and we might have our guards hopefully for some time, right? Because I said this not a phenomenal guard class either. All right, let me see. Let me share my screen here. Let me show. I gotta find this here. I got 7,000 tabs open up here. Where we at here? So there we go. All right, now we're gonna go to. I gotta change this up here. All right, let's go to centers. Oh, there we go. My bad. Centers. Okay. So you'll notice here, right? I mean, centers. The first center on the board, right? According to PFF, that's all I'm going by. It's not my draft board. It's not just PFF, okay? Because they got the stats for them, their height, and all that stuff, and they got some of the guys they even have a little bit of a write up on, but. Their highest graded center is the 91st overall player, right? Jared Wilson from Georgia, right? He's the guy on the thumbnail, right? He's the 91st graded player. He's a center. So it says Wilson may be just a one-year starter, though. So, but I mean, once again, the Giants are not in the market for this, but he has the movement skills to be a starting center in the NFL if he can continue to improve his IQ and anticipation with more snaps. He's 6'3", 310 pounds. Nice size. Nice size. But I said, I mean, this is like, usually, I mean, if it's a nice class for some centers, there'll be a couple centers, 2 or 3 of them in the top 40 or 50. I mean, you got to go to number 90. There's almost, isn't it? Almost not even a center in the top 100. I mean, you got to go to number 91, according to PFF anyway. So we're looking at quite possibly a round 3 or day 3 center going in being the first center taken off the board. Then you got Seth McLaughlin of Ohio State. PFF has him ranked as the 123rd overall player coming out in the draft. That's the second center, right? He's 6'4", 305 pounds. McLaughlin's experience and toughness could be an asset to an offensive line room, but his status in 2025 will be in question due to his injury. So apparently he had some type of an injury last season. Then you got to go to number 193. So basically, according to take Monheim, Jonah Monheim. So basically, according to PFF, out of the top 220 players coming out in the draft, there's only 3 centers in the top 220 players. It's not a year for the center. Monheim has the raw athleticism to succeed in a zone scheme center if he can get stronger. He's 6'5", 310. His lack of length is the biggest deterrent to his success and will likely prevent him from playing a swing role in any other position. Jake Majors from Texas. And then you go up to number 300, Drew Kendall. So 1, 2, 3, 4. According to PFF, there's, we got Drew Kendall from Boston College, and there's other guys after this. But the top 300 players, they only have 5 centers listed, right? It's goes to show you, it's like how important it is nowadays, right? To take guys, guys who can do multiple things. You only want like so many Andrew Thomases, John Michael Schmitz, whatever. Because if you go into a game with like 8 offensive linemen, right? If you got 3 of them are just centers, you're screwed. You got to guys obviously have guys who play multiple positions, right? That's why a lot of them, it's with the Giants, you got maybe guys who are guards who can move into centers. That's why we have the one true center, but we have other guys who can move in and take over at center. Now, where is the? I gotta find this here. Nope. Is this it? All right, the draft chart here. The depth chart. I'm sorry, the Giants' depth chart. All right, so we got at center, we got John Michael Schmitz, but we got Austin Slootman, however you want to pronounce him. Let's see. Then we got Jimmy Morrissey and Brian Hudson. So we got 2 Hudsons. We got Brian Hudson and we got James Hudson, who's the swing tackle. Okay. But with Schlattman and like Morrissey and all, some of those guys can obviously want to maybe play in other positions as well. So we don't have necessarily 4 guys on the roster who are just like strictly centers. A lot of those guys are maybe guard and can move in to play center, right? Thankfully, the Giants are not in the position looking for a center. If they're going to grab anybody, okay, it would be nice for them to grab somebody. Okay, I'll share this again in just a second. If they're going to grab somebody, it would be nice that maybe in one of the later rounds, 3rd round, 4th round, right? Take somebody, it may not be a good class for tackles, very good class. Now the thing is, because the Giants brought in a couple swing tackles, they were not phenomenal tackles. They can play obviously the left and the right tackles. Okay, they can give you reps there. They can fill in for a guy if Andrew Thomas gets injured again, they can put him in there, but they can play either side. Okay, they're not phenomenal. Now, you also got to remember, too, okay, this is Illuminor's last season under contract. We can certainly bring him back. If the Giants swing Evan Neal in a guard, and we got Illuminor, and this is his final season, and once again, I don't know if they plan on bringing him back or not. I would try to if we can. But, it's not a guard class. It's not a center class. Good class for tackles. Now, it's in the 3rd round, 4th round. The Giants want to take somebody, maybe a tackle. That may not be bad, especially if there's somebody to back up, maybe Illuminor. If Illuminor is the go, then they can swing this new guy in here, next season. But it's certainly not a class for either guards or tackles. Not even close. Now, one thing, the Giants, as I said, the Giant wouldn't be nice if the Giants because they didn't do it last season in the draft, right? Draft somebody in the defensive line, also draft somebody in the offensive line, Joe. Right? Even if they're not starters, get some depth in there, some young depth in there. Okay, and hopefully, if there's a defensive lineman, hopefully they're better than Jordan Riley and DJ Davidson. But be good, good year maybe to add some depth at both the offense and defensive line.